Okay, good morning. So, this morning I wanted to talk about like spiritual warfare and how it's been affecting my life lately. So, things that people don't tell you when you become a religious Christian or Christian, I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But I have like this thing where you do not have to tell everybody that you're religious or a Christian to have a relationship with God because it is nobody's business but yours. And a lot of people they use it as like, oh, I'm better than other people, but that's how you know that they don't have the Holy Spirit because it doesn't make you better than anybody. It doesn't make you anything. It just gives you favor to qualify for positions that people don't think that you belong in because you are favored by God. So it also opens a lot of doors that are not open to the average people because they're not letting God lead them in the direction that they need to be in. They're not building a relationship, they're not being obedient, they're not fasting, they're not praying, they're not consistently studying their word. And don't get me wrong, there are times where I have studied my word, misinterpreted, misunderstood, leaned on my own understanding, fell into traps, went back to the same thing, and I was not working and walking fully in my purpose. But it's because I was taking steps and I also had to go through these experiences to really start walking in my purpose. And there's certain environments where you'll experience a lot of heavy warfare, a lot of confusion, and there are times where God will stop talking and you feel like you don't hear him or you don't understand, or now you're just using discernment, wisdom, and you're leaning on what he has promised you. And a lot of people, they misunderstand the timing of the promise and they walk into a trap set by the enemy. And it's like, oh, well, God promised me this and he said this and this was going to happen. But sometimes you have to go back to the first thing God has ever told you, the first time he has ever saved you from something. And then you have to use that to walk in his path and in his direction because you're no longer hearing him. So, for experience and for instance, I currently left an area in an environment that I thought was very, stable for me, but in reality, it was very hectic, very hard, and it was a lot of spiritual warfare. It felt like I could not progress in that environment. I cannot get up and get myself together. I cannot wake up and eat something. It was like I was moving off the strength that I had two kids and I had to provide for them, but it wasn't like I was moving off the strength of God. Like I wasn't moving off of faith. I was just moving like God wants me to provide for my children. He wants me to feed my children, take care of my children. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to make it happen. But in that environment, it was so draining. It was so toxic. It was so tiring and exhausting for me mentally, physically, and emotionally that God had promised me something, right? But I walked right into a wall with it because I felt like that was my opportunity. That was God doing that, but it wasn't because, or it was, and I had to really lean on God at the time to protect me spiritually, emotionally, and physically because it was so hard. And I know that sometimes God will put us in a place, in a position to where we have to only rely on him, and we may not feel like it's fair, but it's something that we have to do in our life to start building a stronger relationship with him. So as bad as I was, like as tired as I was, as unproductive as I was, I still accomplished certain things where I would fast, I would pray, I would be so consistent in my studying. But that doesn't mean that I still was completely walking in the spirit, because I still was surrounded by a whole bunch of confusion. I was still being attacked left and right. When you go through spiritual attacks, it's basically feeling like you're drained, all your energy is being sucked from you. You can't get up, you're too tired to do the basic tasks. You're too tired to get up in the morning. You're too tired to feed yourself. You're like just stuck. And at those moments, those is when I realized that I really needed to start fasting, because there's times where God would be like, fast, and I couldn't fast because I was so tired and I was so hungry and I was so confused. And it was like, not, it was the perfect time to do it, to build my relationship with God and to hear Him clearly. But it was so hard for me because of the environment that I was in. And when God removed me, it wasn't abrupt. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't fast. It was like, okay, I'm going to relocate you because now it's time. You have been obedient, you have been patient, you have been, backsliding as well, but I forgive you. So last night I had like a little vision of like me against myself. It was me fighting myself, and it's because I have fell back into a cycle a couple months ago, which caused a new transition in my life, which I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? I'm like still in my mind about it all the time. And I'm like, I don't know, like, how can you forgive me for this? Because I fell back into lust. I fell back into temptation. I fell back into the things that you have saved me from. I went back to a place that I prayed to get away from. You know what I'm saying? And God is an all loving God. He's very, very much the definition of unconditional love, unconditional trust, unconditional support. If you fall down, He's still going to pick you up if He knows that your heart is right with Him. So, as others can judge me, He made it very clear that I don't have to listen to others judge me, because these are the same people who have been sending attacks into my life, who I thought I could trust, who I thought I could love. And when God told me it was time to just let go and move on, I just questioned it. Year after year after year, He showed me time after time after time these people, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't grasp it. Like, no matter how many times I got hurt, I couldn't let go. But after this last experience in my life, I realized that I don't want your hurt love when God has been providing me unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? It's like teaching me a lot more self-worth, a lot more love within myself, because I have struggled from family trauma. I have struggled from father wounds, from mother wounds, from so many different wounds in my life, that I allowed the enemy to trick me, to make me believe that I needed these people, when in reality, I need nobody but God. And I know y'all say, well, you have kids. They need you. You need them. Of course, God makes it very clear that I have to provide for my kids, but also God has made it very clear that I have to trust in Him when it comes to my kids. You know what I'm saying? Trust that He will provide for my kids as He provided for me. Trust that He will provide and help them become who they belong in Him, as long as I play my part, play my role, stay fasting, stay praying for protection for my children, stay covered in Him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of requirements that you have to have when you're really building a relationship with God, whether you're religious or not. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. But the way that the world projects a relationship with God is not the relationship we have with God. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people judge you for what you wear, what you say, what you do, what you post. And those are the same people that have evil in their hearts that's sending you like bad energy, or don't want you to succeed, or don't want you to build in your relationship. Like, trust me when I say, when God told me to cut off certain people that I loved so much, and then he showed me time after time after time memories over flooded of when when they overflooded of when times that they have did things and they were operating out of a different spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, when the time is right, God will reveal things that are necessary. He won't reveal things too fast. He won't reveal things too late. He's going to reveal it at the right time that he thinks you are ready for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just been a lot of different things that I've noticed. But I do know, if you are struggling to get up, be productive, to really fast, to really put God first, to really, the hard season is when you need to apply it the most, because when it gets to another season, in Ecclesiastics 3, it talks about a time for everything. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a time for everything literally in our life, um, where we experience so many different things. And it's like, you can be happy, sad, you'll experience death, pain, you'll experience pleasure. It's, everything has a time, but when God elevates you, that's also a time that you have to be ready for. And I wasn't understanding that, because we will go through a lot of hardship before that elevation. We will be tested, we will be tried, we will have a lot of enemies and a lot of spirits attacking us, and people will call you crazy, people will look at you crazy, people will make you feel like you're just the craziest person in the world. And it's usually for the ones that are healing themselves and building a good relationship with God, because they see something in you that you do not see yet. So they attack you unintentionally, sometimes intentionally, but it's the spirit on them, because we don't wrestle against the flesh, we wrestle against the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if somebody comes at me yelling and angry because I'm happy, it's not because they're mad at me, they're mad at the spirit I carry. So, in order to respond to that, I don't have to feed into what they're giving off. I don't feed in like that. I don't give evil to evil. Sometimes as a human, I do have like, problems. I do have like certain issues in my own life that I experience, to where I'm not, calm enough to react or respond in the right manner. I'm tired, I'm hangry, I'm exhausted, I'm going through my own things in life. But at those times, that's when you really got to focus on just giving it to God and letting go. And it's hard, especially when it's time after time after time. But certain times, it's okay to just be quiet, and I'm learning that. But then there's certain times where you can't just be quiet. You have to set boundaries, you have to say what's on your mind, you have to really not put them down, but be real honest about what's going on, because a lot of people will lose you, mentally. They'll lose you and not even notice they lost you until you never talk to them again. And me, I'm one of those people that it's really hard to lose. you know it's really hard for me to just say, okay, well, I'm done with this person. You can do me the worst way, and I'm getting to a point where that was the old version of me, because once you show me who you are the first time, I'm going to move accordingly, I'm going to move around you, and there's no coming back from that, because you showed me you don't belong in my life anymore. You showed me that my boundaries don't matter to you. You show me that you're not mature enough to be in my circle. You understand? But yeah, I just wanted to let y'all know that spiritual warfare is very, very much not what it seems to the average person. It's really a lot of secrets and things. And what Christians will say is none of this can can bother you. None of this can attack you. None of this can, get in the way if you're so strong in your faith. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to say that's a complete lie because everybody has spiritual levels. But for me, I can have as much faith in the world and still sometimes be put to the test. Like in the book of Job, God told Satan, go ahead and get him. Go ahead. He's still going to come to me. And he proved him right, but he also allowed Satan to continuously throw tax after tax after tax. He lost everything, but God blessed him with 10 times more than what he lost because of his obedience. And sometimes obedience will save your life. That's why they say sacrifice is not better than obedience. Because even in the book, all the sacrifices that people tried to sacrifice was not up to par with God. God was like, yeah, I'm still going to have to go with dude over there because he actually obeyed my command. He listened to what I said. He followed me. You know what I'm saying? And that angered a lot of his people's enemies. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to say that. But um I pray that everybody has a wonderful day. If this spoke to you, um just know that if you're going through a hard time in a hard season, that the enemy's attacking your prayer life. He's attacking your connection with God. He's attacking your mental health. He's just trying to stop you from your breakthrough. And I can't say your breakthrough is right around the corner like everybody else, because trust me, my breakthrough been around the corner for a year and a half now. So you never know when your breakthrough is coming, just like we'll never know when Jesus is coming back. But you can continue to have hope, to have faith, to continue to just pray and stay connected to God during the hard times. And He will provide you with the strength, the direction, the protection, and the wisdom that you need in every season, as long as you put Him first. And that's all I wanted to say. So, you guys have a blessed, and I hope you have a productive day today. So, enjoy.